Hello there, today we're going to make a much healthier version of the sandwich bread we made before. It was labelled, this bread is perfect for sandwiches, which is really soft, white, fluffy. However, some of us, or a lot of us nowadays, need to watch our dairy intake or our cholesterol and all that. So this is a slightly healthier version. Okay, so it's very similar, but we're just taking out the naughty bits. So this is 100 grams of wholemeal flour. Now this is what I use. It's 9 parts wheat and 1 part rye, and I grind it myself. You can just use a shop bought wholemeal flour. It's just as good. It's just if you do it yourself, you know exactly what's going in, and also there's no preservatives. So to that we're going to add 300 grams of strong white flour. That's a spring Canadian flour. Into that we're going to add roughly a packet of dried yeast. This is the instant yeast or fast acting yeast. A good 2 teaspoons of good quality sea salt. The liquid I have here is 250 millilitres of warm water and 15 millilitres or 1 tablespoon of honey that's just been stirred in and dissolved in it. So that's that. And then instead of the butter and the milk, we're going to use extra virgin rapeseed oil, and we're going to use 1.5 tablespoons. This is instead of the butter and the milk. So all we're going to do now is bring this together with our hand, and then we're going to turn it out and knead it for a while. Just once you get it incorporated into a bowl, you can turn it out on the table and start kneading it. Alternatively, if you have a KitchenAid or a stand mixer, stick it all in there and turn it on number 2 for about 10 minutes. We need to knead this for a good 10 minutes on the board. We are going to be adding some seeds to it later as well, but you need to knead it once for the gluten to develop. Okay, so that's enough of that. I'm going to turn it out onto a board now, lightly floured, and just give it a really good knead for about 10 minutes. Okay, so that's been kneaded now for about 10 minutes. You can see it's come together nicely as a nice elastic dough. I meant to say as well, the unhealthier version of this had sugar in it. That's why we put the honey in. So anyway, that's that. Now onto that we're going to put some, I mix this myself. It's some sunflower seed, some pumpkin seed, and poppy seeds. And we're just going to knead that through till we get it nice and even. So it's a case of folding it in and just giving it a really good knead. Probably take about another 4 minutes. So there we go. That's nicely dispersed through the bread now. You don't have to put the seeds in because, well, they're not necessary. It just adds a lot of flavour and a little bit of texture. And we're planning to have some nice cheese and onion sandwiches with this tonight. So any bit of extra flavour is always welcome. So there you go, that's your dough. We're going to pop this into a bowl. Cover it with either a bit of cling film or a damp towel. Now that's got to double in size. I'm not going to say how long that's going to take because I don't know how warm your room is. But when that doubles in size, then we'll go to the next stage. Okay, as you can see, this is doubled in size now. So what we're going to do is just give it a little turn out. There's enough flour on that board. So we'll turn it out, have a little shape, and then put it in the mould ready for cooking. What you need to do is just knock the air out that's gone in there. Bash it about a bit. Make sure can you see the air bubbles? Just give it a good bash about. And then to shape it, all we're going to do is just draw it back, putting our fingers in like that. And as you can see, it gets longer and longer, and you end up with a smoothish bit on top. Well, I'm just going to get a greased loaf tin to put that in. Okay, so here's a loaf tin. I've just given it a quick grease. Your bread's roughly the same size. Drop it in. Give a little pat down, make it flat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cover that with a damp tea towel. And then we'll leave that until, again, it doubles in sides. And it wants to come up. It'll probably come up about an inch or so above the tin. But it needs to double in size again. And then we'll cut it and cook it. Again, with the cooking, we're going to cook it in the oven 190 degrees. And we're going to get a bit of steam going in there. So put a cast iron pan at the bottom or a heavy steel pan at the bottom, some boiling water in it just before you put the bread in. So you've got a bit of steam allowing the crust to form slower. Okay, you can see that that's come out. It's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe, but it's more than doubled in size. I've got the oven on 190. Look, my oven's really sort of strong. So I've got it on 190. If your oven's a little bit not quite so strong, maybe put it up to 210. I've got some moisture in there already. I'm going to make 2 deep cuts in the bread, simply like that, and put it straight into the oven. Well, there we have it. That's the healthier sandwich bread. It's still really light and fluffy inside. Perfect for sandwiches, but it doesn't have the dairy, the butter, the sugar, the milk. It has all natural stuff. The honey's good for you. The seeds are good for you. It's wholemeal. It's unbleached flour. It's a healthier loaf. You will enjoy it if you give it a try. Don't try and make a sandwich out of that for at least an hour because it just won't work. If you cut it, it'll be awful. So have a go. It's really tasty. I love white bread, but this is just a little bit tastier, a little bit more special. Give it a try.